Hey guys, before we get started today, we wanted to take a minute to thank you, the listener, for tuning in and proving you have a growth mindset. Our mission is to curate information from the top influencers around the world. We provide you with real, actionable steps on how to improve in all areas of your life, whether you own a business, are a C-suite exec, have an entrepreneurial mindset, or you're just starting your journey of self-development. Professional development is all about growth, and if you're not growing, you're dying. If you enjoy this content, please help us help others by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Here we go.
Hey guys, welcome to the Professional Development Podcast. Today is Tuesday, February 2nd, and this is episode 25 on focus. So, Super Bowl week, guys. What's going on?
Bucks.
Man, I'm the same way as you, Colin. I don't really care who wins because ever since the Rams left, I have no loyalty.
How awesome would that be?
I just want it to be a good game, and honestly, I kind of want to see Tom Brady win his 7th championship.
Same.
That's all I am.
And
Second since he turned 40 too is
what a beast.
amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I
What a
agree, but
fucking
Bob, what a cop-out answer. I just want it to be a good game. I just want everyone
everybody
to have fun.
Chiefs
Well,
Fun to fun.
I want a good
Fun to
game
fun.
because
F2F.
it'd be so much more fun to see a back and forth game than see a blowout.
Yeah,
Go give it your all, guys.
Man,
right. Yeah.
I'm definitely taking the
all
Bucks.
tied up at fun to
So
fun.
Fun to fun.
I have
Uh-huh.
both Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes rookie cards.
Damn.
So
dude.
what is
I'm
the current
I'm
worth?
winning no matter what.
So which
Do you know
one?
what the current
which
worth
one's
is?
value is going to
So
skyrocket
I
if they win?
bought. I definitely think Brady's will go up more. So right now,
Versus if Mahomes wins.
yeah. So I think that I'll get about a $1,200 increase on Brady, and I think I'll get about a $500 increase on Mahomes.
Where do they currently stand? Do you know?
They're both sitting around. Well, so I didn't get a. So there's this thing called PSA. It's just a grading system. A PSA 10 Tom Brady rookie card is like $40,000. So I didn't get one of those.
Oh, I was about to say,
But-
fuck.
They're both my Mahomes is rated higher than my Brady, and they're sitting about the same 1250, somewhere around there
Nice.
each. So we'll see what happens, but I'd love to see Tom Brady fucking take it down.
Yeah.
I
I
used-
don't,
just for
really have
winning.
I don't really have a vest. I do like the Chiefs because a lot of my friends are like hardcore Chiefs fans now, but I also think
Hashtag Matt James.
Brady getting out of New England and winning with the Bucks would be pretty legit.
They're like,
Yeah.
when's the last time
Well,
the
that's what I
Bucks have
like
been in the
about
playoffs alone?
It's
Dude, it's been a while.
So
I don't
think
even
about
remember.
that.
And
They're
even
at
won
the-
a playoff game.
And they're at the
Yeah.
fucking Super Bowl.
Might be close to when they won the Super Bowl
With Warren Sapp.
That's
that
what I said
2000?
today. We weren't sure
It
if
was
he
early
won it
Here's
with
a
that.
question: do you think Mahomes will have a better career than Brady?
No. I think he'll win
don't.
another
I
Super
don't.
Bowl.
But everybody
for sure.
around
I
me
mean,
is like,
if you're Kansas City, you just want to put the right team in place year after year to let him do his thing. If he stays healthy, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to get close to win 4 or 5 championships.
He runs too much. I don't even know enough about football, and
That's
I know that he
the-
runs too
He's
much.
got skinny
His-
little legs.
His career will
They'll
be
get
shorter than
snapped.
Brady's.
Somebody tell you that?
Don't you
No, I
fucking
just
hate
know
that.
that.
He's
Just
got to
like
stay
Matt.
healthy.
Don't you hate on people with
That's
skinny
the
legs?
biggest
yeah,
thing.
or calves.
It's
Yeah,
fucking
dude.
it's genetics,
Oh,
bro.
bro.
It's
You got
fucking
nice
genetics.
calves.
I got chicken legs, dude.
Yeah.
You hating?
What else?
Hopefully he never listens to
Johnny
this.
Drama.
Drama and his calves.
Anything else besides football? Anything else going on?
So I saw something huge on the way down here. Jeff Bezos stepped down from
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah,
saw
what was
that.
that about?
What?
I saw that right before I was leaving.
Well, he's
basically,
he's taken
he's-
on executive chair.
Yeah, which I mean, he probably wasn't doing much right now, anyways. But he just basically wanted to do his Blue Origin and some charity stuff. So.
They said he pretty much wasn't involved in the day-to-day anyway, so
I tried to email him.
passing the
They
buck.
never
But Blue
fucking
Origin
responded.
is like
did.
SpaceX.
Terrible service.
His version of
response.
SpaceX. So it's pretty
Terrible
good.
Gotcha.
It's
Yeah.
Jeff at Amazon.com. And I fucking emailed him because they were opening a mortgage division, and that's what we recruit in. And so I tried to say, hey, I can help. No response. But the email went
Why
through.
don't you hit
Have
up
you
Lead
followed
IQ and get his phone number? Just
You
call
think
him.
we could?
Yeah.
We should do that every week. Like,
Just see
highest
if we can
profile phone number we could get.
I get
We need to get paid by Lead IQ, though.
AF, Ed Milet,
Make sure you tag them in this. They got
Tim
an Insta.
Ferriss.
Their cell phones are probably on there.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I'll be texting them.
Anything else? No? You guys want to get in a little bit of the content?
Yeah, let's do it.
Focus.
Yeah, let's focus.
Cool. So, today we are going to be talking about focus. We'll go through some quotes. We're going to have an OnlyFans inquiry. But first, I'm going to hit us with just the tip. So, it's with the new year coming and a lot of goals that people have, it's super easy to get distracted and lose focus, right? Especially on what's important when at the beginning of the year, you typically want to focus on everything, right? You want the finances, you want to focus on family, friends, health, overall well-being. So it can seem at times like we're running in circles and there isn't enough time in the day to actually give attention to everything. Enter the focusing question. The focusing question was created and popularized by Gary Keller from the book, The One Thing. It's a simple yet profound exercise that's going to help you give clarity and direction to your day so you can identify what's most important to you and what you need to move the needle. And here's the question. The question is, and I guess this is any time when you feel like you have too many things going on, you ask this one simple question, and that's, what is the one thing I can do such that by doing that everything else will be easier or unnecessary? And I think that's a little bit of a complicated way to put it, but basically it's, what is the one thing that I can do that's going to move the needle on everything else or make everything else unnecessary? And I think that's super, super important, especially right now, at beginning of the year when everything's just fucking taking flight. And I'm feeling that right now, honestly. Like, I feel like I've got too much going on and I don't know where my priorities are. So I asked that question. And here's a quick way to do it. And I'm probably running a little bit longer than I wanted to. But one, look at your goals or look at your vision board that you set for yourself.
Abs.
Figure out which goal you can achieve that's going to help you achieve some of the other goals, right?
Speedos.
List all the action items that you can do to achieve the goal that's going to help you get the most out of it, and then narrow it down to the one most important action item. So just for an example, right? I chose my company goals, which is to get 50 clients, right? The company goal is not only going to help with that, but it's going to help me hit my compensation goal, my real estate goal, our professional development goal. It's going to give me time and freedom so I can focus on my body, focus on playing beach doubles, everything else. So I've realized that that's the one goal that if I hit that goal, and every other goal will become easier or unnecessary.
Love it.
Bang, bang.
Awesome.
I
actually
like to focus on your body.
That book was fucking awesome, by the way. That's probably
For
top
sure.
3 for me. And that was like the nugget that I got out of that book is, what can I do right now that will just fucking get my mind right, my focus right? So
And I have a lot of Gary Keller on my notes for today as well. Just because, I don't know how you could live life without it.
It's funny that's the
He's
first
awesome.
book that we read.
I know.
You know,
I have
and
that
everything
noted
kinda
in here.
stems
Like,
back.
this is what kickstarted the whole deal.
comes
Right.
full circle.
So yeah, if you guys haven't read that, again, it's One Thing by Gary Keller, and go hit it up on Amazon or go listen to our Way Back podcast where we talk about it every week.
Yeah.
I don't even know did we even have a
No, we
name
never
back then?
released those.
We're
We
gonna have
talked
to.
about that.
We're gonna have to pull those out of the vault.
Oh, the Underground.
Yeah. With the shitty
mixtapes.
mics
Yeah.
in
You
that
gotta pay
room. It was so hot in there.
Dude, you spit
Yeah,
some
the
flame
fan.
though in those pods.
Got to pay a
Dan was rapping.
premium
Oh,
subscription.
dude. Might as well been
bars
Everything
bars
that
on
came out, yeah.
bars.
Had to get new mics
so-
multiple times.
Yeah.
Burn it.
Focus. Who's got some quotes?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to say mine because here's what happens every week is like somebody will have the same one.
Who do you have?
So the
Zig
first-
Ziglar.
No, Tony Robbins.
Okay.
No? Okay.
I got it. I know where it is.
Oh, shut up.
I was gonna read it off his phone before he did.
All right.
What is it? By the way, Dan's a little tuned up right now. Had a couple of cocktails before the pod.
Okay.
That makes a lot more
couple
sense
cocky
now.
teas.
Let me get this
Go ahead.
knocked out. Where focus goes, energy flows.
Sick.
Tony Robbins.
I think it's an amazing quote.
It is a great quote.
It really is. And, I'll talk. Can
Go
I
ahead.
talk about what it means to me?
Mhm.
Cool. I've noticed that whenever I put some serious intent and focus behind something, like I always hit that fucking goal. And it's like super focused though. It's like, I really want this. I really want to, like for recruiting, I really want to find a certain candidate. And I always fucking make it happen whenever I put all my focus on that and I don't think about anything else or I don't do anything else. So it's just super interesting that energy flows that way. The law of attraction kicks in. I find my fucking candidate or I achieve my goal. And that's why I agree with that quote.
Damn right.
Nice
Great
quote.
Pow pow.
I got a Zig Ziglar quote here. It is, I don't care how much power, brilliance, or energy you have. If you don't harness it and focus it on a specific target and hold it there, you're never going to accomplish as much as your ability warrants. So very similar to the one that Dan just read off, but we see this a lot. I mean, gosh, we probably see this in people that we've interviewed. I know we've had this with people that have come on board my team where they just seem like they're amazing, but they aren't willing to put in the effort day after day to make themselves successful. So there's always shiny objects that are going to distract you. And if you don't narrow in on that one thing that's going to the process, if you don't focus on the process, the results are never going to happen.
Yeah. That's a really good one.
I got one, but I don't know who it's from.
Anonymous.
God damn it.
Focus
Fired.
like a laser beam on your goals, not your fears. So I have a lot. I have a lot in here. I have a lot in here about limiting your distractions and auditing your circle and getting things out of your life that are going to pull you away from hitting your goals. So yeah, that's why I really like that quote. So don't focus on your fears because that's nothing but a distraction.
Love it.
Yep. What do you got?
I don't have anything this week
Wait,
because
wait.
our secretary did not tell us to have a quote prepared.
There was no
this week.
quotes on the
Oh, I
high notes.
got fucking upgraded to secretary. Hopefully, I get a little pay
Congrats on
bump
the
there.
promotion.
Yeah.
And benefits. And
secretary.
benefits.
Yeah. No, I didn't put it in the itinerary because I thought people were fucking adults and could think for themselves because we do it every week.
So what quote do you
Well,
have, Matt?
when you put it in there, you never bring it up.
I know.
And then now
I'm
you see he
bringing it
doesn't
up.
put it in there and he brings it up.
Well, we did talk about it last week.
We did talk about it
So-
last week.
I'm just
What
busting
quote
his
do you
balls.
have, Matt?
I know. What quote do I have?
Google.
So
He doesn't have one.
I do. I
The
do have a quote.
secretary forgot.
Nope. I've got. You can do almost anything that you want in life, but you can't do it at the same time. And that's from Tim Ferriss. And just like
I like that.
and it's just a random interview that he was doing, and it kind of goes hand in hand with kind of what I was talking about. You can't put 10% of your effort into 10 different things and expect to get good results, right? Whatever you're doing, you should put a laser focus on it. It's the magnifying glass effect, right? You're not going to make a fire with a bunch of leaves if you're just moving the magnifying glass all around.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I like it.
I'll keep it at that. Anything else before we get going on focus?
No, pretty solid quotes.
That was good.
Cool.
Except for Brad.
Except for Brad.
Mine
Except for
sucked.
Brad.
Brad,
Yeah.
dude, Brad really dropped the ball this
Brad
week.
You
really
could have just
I
said
did.
one word, just focus.
Brad's
Yeah.
been struggling lately.
I could have just brought up my Venus Williams one from yesterday, but I wasn't going to do that.
Brad
because-
100% could have Googled it like we always do when we're not prepared. But he
I want
wanted
to hear the Venus
he wanted to give me
Williams
the
one.
call out.
I'll have to look it up again. I'm not
Damn.
prepared for it.
So
Even though he put up a picture of Serena Williams.
Did I?
How do you know? You know
'Cause-
the difference?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dude.
One's much meatier.
yeah,
Stronger.
Yes.
Hotter.
I think
It came from Google.
I think I'd take Venus
You take like,
if I had to pick one or the other.
okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
In a
Wait, no.
ping
Speak-
pong.
I'd pick Serena, I think.
Speaking of focus, can we get back?
Yeah.
Can we let's talk about focus. We had a couple of good quotes there to kind of lead us into it. So what does focus means in terms of your own professional development, dudes?
Okay, so I'll jump in. For me, I think focus is, the way I look at it, is time's a precious commodity. It's the most precious commodity we have in our lives in general. You can only do so much in so many hours of a day. So for me, I don't want to waste my time on items that aren't going to get me to where I want to be. So right currently, that's working out. Working out's not going to make me money at the moment. It's taking away from my other decisions, my work stuff. So I'm trying to do that in a sense of removing myself from past poor decisions as far as time management goes, and anything that'll help me level up is what I'm focusing on.
For me,
For Dan.
Yep.
so focus for me is like one of the core values that I have. And it goes back to my mentor. He said, hey, you need to focus on two things. I think you'll be great, but you need to focus on two things, and that's focus and discipline. Those are two things that I kind of lacked. I always wanted to do everything. I have this business idea. I want to go after that. I want to play golf. I want to, whatever it is, I wanted to do it all. And to Tim Ferriss, that's why I love that quote that you brought up, Matt. And I wasn't doing a very good job at all of it. I was doing an okay job at all of it. And then whenever a year ago or so, it finally clicked in that maybe I needed fucking put focus in one area, which was my business. And then all of a sudden my business went crazy, which I'm thankful for. And, I'm still working at it every day to maintain and grow it. But it was interesting that once I put that focus into play, everything started to take care of itself with all my other goals and whatnot. So that's what it means to me, I guess.
For me, it's having a clear vision of your like ideal life or the ideal person that you want to be and you want to become. And I think it's focusing on those habits and behaviors every day, whether it be personal or professionally, focusing on those behaviors every single day to try to become that person that you want to be. But I think it starts with having a very clear vision of what you want to be or the ideal person you want to be or want to become.
Yeah, I like that. And
Yeah.
I'll just throw this in. I think that having your end goal laser clear,
Yeah.
crystal
Laser
clear.
Crystal clear.
Lots of lasers today.
I
Whatever.
love lasers.
Lasers create crystals.
Knowing
So-
who you want to be, having a very good idea of who you want to be, I think is very, very important.
Yeah, I think, well, to what you said there, Colin, just the focusing on your habits, right? Those are going to influence everything that you're able to accomplish in your life. And I know that's been one thing that has been a huge focus for me is just better habits.
Yeah,
And
same.
I'm definitely not where I want to be in as far as my business goes right now, but I've built a lot of those habits, been able to get to a point where I want to be physically, and now have started to turn the corner and focus a lot on work things this year as far as what habits I can put in place to just hit the end goal. Focus on the process.
Have you read The One Thing?
Yes, I love that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah. 66 days
Yeah,
to develop a habit.
Well, I was gonna say like because everything like did you guys talk about that when you guys talked about balance? Like everything you can't have perfect balance in your life. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna focus on your body, like Brad said, if he loves to focus on money, so working out isn't like a priority for him right now. You know, so
You can't all be as ripped as you three,
Yeah.
you know?
The chunky dudes over here.
I mean, 80-20.
80-20.
Also got
Yeah, that's right.
some chunk ass wallets though.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, there's no fucking
Yeah.
doubt about that. Makes me just want to go back to being fat and focus on nothing but you guys aren't fat. Sorry. But no, I mean, if I focus the time that I have spent on me physically into my business and things like that, it'd be very different. So trying to find that balance, even though that balance doesn't necessarily exist. It's just a matter of putting in the hours on whatever it is that you see the most value in. So I am trying to pour more hours into the business and into the podcast and things like that. It's just been a heavy focus on physically for me for so long that it's been hard to get off that train.
Sure. And the thing is I don't think Brad, I don't think what you're saying is necessarily wrong.
No.
But I don't think what we're doing is necessarily
No.
wrong either.
It's just
No,
priorities.
It's
Yeah,
where those priorities lie, right? But just to kind of go back on focus, is where everything starts, right? Like if every single person in this room has probably had some type of, I don't know, something difficult that you've achieved in your life, right? That at the start you really had no fucking clue how you were going to do it or if you could actually do it. And then all of a sudden looking back, it's like, okay, now I have it. Now I started a business. Now I build this much money. Now I have X amount of employees, or whatever the goal was. It all starts with focus, right? It all starts with you deciding this is something that you want in life, and then you focus on that. And that is where the law of attraction stuff, like you said, Dan, that starts kicking in, because when you really start to focus on how to do something, you turn, and this is going to sound woo-woo, but you turn your brain to a specific frequency to where you start picking up on like conversations that people are having that you didn't know they were having at first, or you wouldn't have if you weren't focusing on that specific goal, right? You start creating relationships. You start picking up things off the internet that you might not have seen to start getting the ball rolling, because that's what your focus is on. So I think that's where it all starts when we want to achieve any goal. And that's why I think it's, I wouldn't say the most important, because there's no one most important thing, but like it's where it all starts.
Yeah, and Ed Milet talks about this, and we're going to have
Reticular
to, we need a
activator
bucket for
system.
Ed Milet now, because we've talked about him multiple weeks in a row.
I love him. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is great. But
Shout out.
so he says your mind is a weapon, right? And a lot of people have aimed at the wrong things in the wrong areas that are important to them. Hopefully that makes sense. Like you can want to be good at something or a lot of things. You know, what is that one focus? And if you aim that weapon at that one thing, that's where you see
It's
the
a lack
biggest gains.
lack of direction, not a lack. Everyone's got the same 24 hours. It's a lack of
I
direction.
think it's
not
easy
time.
for your comfort zone to kind of take over, and your habits and behaviors start making you comfortable. You know, like smoking or drinking. You know, like people start to do that to numb the pain, so they don't have to deal with certain issues. You know, like and the more that stuff grows, and the more that like overtakes your rituals and habits that make you the person that you want to be, you just start going the other direction, so I think that the most important thing for me would be to audit your behaviors and audit your circle like we talked about.
Yeah. Do you guys have any tips on how people can improve their focus, or have you ever went through anything to where it's like you've done something to develop a little bit more clear focus?
Be deliberate and have some intent about where you're working and what you're working on. Deliberate, like for me, like I've been working out of my home office, for the better half of 2020. And so I just realized it wasn't working. It was working fine. It just wasn't my ideal spot. I was more distracted than I would be if I was at the office. Yeah. And then going back in the fall and then having to come back home in the winter, it was like I saw the difference in my business for sure. So I just went and leased an office space, just to get myself out of there. And I think it's just very important to take the initiative and put yourself in a situation that's going to help you succeed.
I think that in terms of like a tip, focus isn't necessarily hard when you know what to focus on. So I think that in terms of a tip, figure out what you really want to focus on.
Yeah.
So,
be laser clear.
Yeah. So
maybe write down the shit that's important to you, and then pick the number. Just pick fucking one. Yeah. I don't see any reason to pick more than one.
You have to figure out kind of what that end result is that you want to achieve, and then figure out what's the process that's going to get you there.
Yeah.
I think that's where like my team has lacked a lot of trying to figure out like, oh yeah, I want to hit all these awards in my first year. I want to make this much money this year, and that doesn't matter at all if you don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And for us, that's appointments set with decision makers. For someone else, it might be certain amount of calls that they have to make, or door knocks, or it might be for Brad, like you have to do this many RFQs before you can achieve this much income. So it's trying to figure out what the process is that is going to get you to the result.
Yeah, and the tips that I have to improve your focus are kind of all Gary Keller based. It's just no distractions, time block. Time block's been a big one for me lately. That's what I've been doing every morning is when I do have a quote that I got to get out. I literally tell everybody in the shop, hey, I got 2 hours I'm dedicating to just quoting today, and then I'll come back out. And then something that Bobby actually touched on earlier is avoid squirrel syndrome. Not like, oh, woo, wee,
squirrel.
Yeah. Not to get distracted. Like there's so many things that you can get pulled in so many directions. You just got to like say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and that's what I'm going to do.
There was another. Was it the one thing that mentioned this where your production takes a hit if you try to go from one task to another task back to another task?
That was
it's like just block out time
exist.
to do the one task in its entirety.
Yeah, that was in the one thing.
That was in the one thing. It's in a lot of things because multitasking has been
it's
debunked
proven,
like a motherfucker
Right.
as of lately. It takes so much time to stop, pivot, and then redirect your attention. And
I'm the worst at that.
And then get back.
A lot of wasted time.
Same.
Oh my gosh. Well, just like trying to hop
Multitasking.
back and forth in between different things that I have going on. I'll start doing this and I'm like, oh, I need to send this email. And then I'm like, I completely forgot what I was doing over here instead of just having that all written out and having those prioritized.
I think it's even more important like industry, like for our industry though, because what you're dealing with is you're probably dealing with a client who needs something like right now. You know what I mean? And like you need to prioritize 3 or 4 other things before you get to that thing. And in your mind, you need to be satisfactory. Your service needs to be satisfactory for them to stay a client.
Right.
So you want to jump on the one thing. So you kind of like half-ass it or start it, and then it just starts building up on you. That's how I feel. Maybe I should just be easy on that's how I feel. I just feel like when a client calls me, I want to jump over and do it, but I forget that I have a list full of things that I need to get done first, so.
Sure.
That's where it's probably worth looking to, like, you guys talk about hiring someone like Dan on the podcast last week. You talked about how much time hiring that one person was able to give you. You're like, I have all this time now that I can spend with my family that, like, this past week where usually you were at the office until 7 and you were able to be with them a little bit more and figuring out, like, all right, how can I hire out on this? Like, we just hired... so I just invested in a lead generation company. So that's an investment that I just went after, and then we just hired someone to help with claims. So whenever I get an email, I can just forward it over to her and say, take care of it. And now that saves me a significant chunk of time. So I am starting to figure out, all right, what is my time worth? Where can I spend that money?
Yeah.
And I know that's something that you guys have obviously done a great job at, as far as Dan and Brad here with hiring people that you need. And obviously Matt too, being involved in that company. So yeah, that's important. Figuring out what your time's worth and what you can hire out.
Going off that interview that I watched of Tim Ferriss, I heard something that I don't know if I've heard anything like it before, but I'm sure something along those lines. So he basically was talking about like why we big reason we tend to get distracted, or we jump project to project, or we start and stop, like goal, we quit, is because people try to be too realistic. So in the one thing, it does talk about like there's really not that much difference from setting one goal, like a smaller goal, to setting a big goal.
Yeah.
A lot of times it can take pretty much the same amount of time if you're talking about within like a fiscal year or a quarter or whatever it is. So he said if somebody's going from 50 to 60K, that's one thing, but it's like it's not big enough, right? It's not exciting enough to when you hit obstacles, you're overcoming those, right?
Yeah.
So he says if you essentially if you aim high enough, it's hard to fail completely, right? Even if you don't hit that goal, once you start hitting these roadblocks, the idea of getting to that goal, the picture you paint of like that compelling future, like that's what's going to continue to get you to get over the humps whenever you have those goals. But if it's like 50 to 60K, you can start to justify like, okay, well, what is that really a month, right? Like you can start to basically backtrack yourself to where it's just like, what the fuck ever, it's not that big of a deal.
Month. Right. Yeah.
And it's also a goal that you could basically accidentally hit.
Well, that's something I've been doing a lot lately is I'm making my goals super fucking high lately. And I hope I don't hit them, but I hope I fucking bust my ass trying to get there. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, you want to hit the goal, but you know what? If you paint that, $100,000, big deal. At the end of the day, big deal. Let's make it $1 million. Let's make it $10 million.
Yeah.
The money's out there. Like there's so many fucking ways to make money. It's unreal.
Is it like kind of like your Gary Vee version of wanting to buy the Jets?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like literally, lately,
It's up on your vision board.
Yeah, I mean, lately I didn't think I wanted to have a lot of things like a fucking private plane or a fucking yacht or anything like that. And lately I've been like, you know what? Why the fuck not?
What's your big
if
one
somebody
right now?
else is gonna get it, why can't I fucking have
fuck
it?
yeah.
For sure.
So
What's your big one right now that you're...
And you a dog.
What's your big ass goal? You a dog.
You a dog.
I mean, I've always said I didn't want a plane, but now it's like I see these fuckers and they just jump on a fucking plane and go to wherever
Costa
the fuck
Rica.
they want. Why not?
Yeah.
Bangkok.
So that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, especially since I've been dabbling in this clubhouse the last couple of days, it just, dude, there is fucking money out there to be had. And my hand's out there to go fucking.
And now
do it.
you're more connected with so many people to help you
unreal,
attain
yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There is. I think we all realize that there's a ton of money out there to be made. And going off of what you said, we talked about this a few podcasts ago. Yes, we want to hit the goal. Yes, we want to make a lot of money. Yes, we have materialistic things that we want to accomplish. But that at the end of the day, the fulfillment comes from the person you become by hitting the goal,
Yes.
right? So if you're going to face obstacles, whether your goal's an extra 10K or it's an extra $1 million a year, right? So you might as well go over those obstacles that are $1 million so you can become that person that grows into a millionaire.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I'm rolling, baby.
Yeah.
It's that like choose your hard. Being rich is hard. Being poor is hard. Choose your hard.
Yep.
But I
Right,
think
yeah,
it also becomes relative. Like Dan's talked about this before. Like, you get a Lambo. Once you get one Lambo, after a while, is the Lambo.
I mean,
cool
I've thought
anymore?
about it. When I get my Lambo,
What color is it going to be?
it's gonna be like, well, you can't just have fucking one supercar. Like, you gotta have a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, you're not
What am I
legit
gonna
until
do,
you
just
have
have
at least a
one
garage
limo?
full.
I need a
because
12-car garage.
like, how do you Instagram just one over and over and over again? Like,
I'd
like,
rather have
cool,
15
dude. We know
Toyota
you got
Camrys. You know?
one. Right. Like,
He
at
might
least I
have to
can.
with how
At
many
least I
kids
can
he
do a
has.
boomerang.
yeah, exactly.
Oh.
But no, I think it's a
15
mindset
Toyota
though. I think it's a mindset though in terms of goals, right? Like we set a goal, and when we actually hit that goal, at least for me, it's like, okay, well, what's fucking next? I've never hit a goal and then just become complacent
yeah.
right after.
Do you want
And
a
I think
Lambo?
that's just a mindset. Yeah,
Dan sent
I
me a
didn't
list of
at
5
first,
fucking
but
cars
now
he
I do.
wanted.
Yeah,
I texted him the other day. I'm like, what's that car you always talk about? And he sent me a list of 5 cars. I was like, well, he's got it figured out.
Fiero.
Well, Dan, to
Lambo.
go off
Fiat.
what you say, we like humans have a tendency to become really adapted to their environment, whether it's a positive or a negative. I guarantee every single one of us is in a way better place than we were 2 years ago. but I guarantee we were experiencing very similar anxiety 2 years ago
Yeah.
about where the fuck we need to be.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
I actually
100%.
think that and this is weird to say, honestly, like the better I do, the higher anxiety I have to
keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, I hit something and I'm like, I'm thankful and I'm grateful that happened, but I'm like, how do I fucking sustain it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is
I think
the
I'm
next
actually
5, 10
probably the
years?
opposite way. It's like I feel like I hit a home run. And I'm like, that was fucking badass, but let's go do it again.
Well,
Yeah, it
I mean,
energizes you.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
definitely
boom.
have the let's do it again mindset. It's just, I think that I'm just humbled by, like, you
that
know,
you hit it.
have done something that I said I was going to do, I
Yeah.
guess.
For sure.
So,
Yeah. What else we got? Anything?
I have a cool story Matt can definitely relate to. Unless you have something else you want to get
Go
to.
ahead. Well, I had a story. I had a story too, but
I'm
yeah.
wondering
definitely.
if it's the
gonna
same
be
story.
It's not going to be the same as his.
What's that?
It's not going to be the same as yours.
Is it okay? Go ahead.
Maybe it is.
Is it going to beat Matt's though?
Yeah,
Well, it's-
for sure. For sure. Yeah.
We should rank it after.
Okay.
Mine's probably not that good then.
Okay. So
Forget it. I
never
don't
mind,
wanna
I don't
say
have a
it.
story.
So one of the guys that's here on the app, the only guy that's on the apps. Are you on the apps?
The apps?
The dating apps.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, then Matt can totally relate. So Whitney Wolf, owner of Bumble,
Mhm.
she'll be the youngest female to ever bring a company public at like 30 something. So something that she does as far as focus is she asks herself the question of 9. Will this matter in 9 minutes, 9 hours, 9 months, or 9 years? If it doesn't matter for all those items, you shouldn't pay attention to them. And it doesn't mean that you don't respond, but it means you respond when you have to, but you don't always react. So like if somebody sends you an email and you're like, oh, I got to answer that. Like Colin was saying, like, is this going to matter in 9 minutes? No. So you finish what you're doing and then you go back and start again.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a super cool real life
that.
example of how focus works from somebody that's made shit.
That is a really good one, especially with, again, every type of distraction that you could possibly think of. I hate people that are bad texters, but I also, like, I've got a good buddy that I actually, I play volleyball with. I talked to him about this. And he's like super successful at his job, like great at what he does. But he would tell me that he just goes, like when he goes into work, he goes into work and he works, right? Like but what he does is every once in a while he'll check his phone, but he doesn't always feel like he has to respond to texts. And so then the day will go on and he'll just forget about it.
Yeah.
And it's not that he's an asshole. It's not that he doesn't like me, but
Maybe.
Questionable.
possibly. It's very much within the realm that somebody doesn't like me. But he's just like,
No.
I've got these priorities and those are my number one. And I think
Right.
I've got more respect for him for like saying that
Yeah,
because
for sure.
I could go for like not giving a fuck about responding to some texts or
Like the
notifications
professional ones?
or listen, sometimes a group text get too much of me.
Dude, so
deep.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll catch something that I want to respond to. I'll be like, oh, shit. And I got to start scrolling.
I have 84 unread text messages. Would you consider me a good texter or a bad texter?
I'm a terrible
Well, you
texter.
didn't read them yet, so you're
84?
planning on going back and reading them. So maybe you're
I
good.
only respond to shit that is important.
Yeah. That's on the tip of your tongue.
Are those group messages?
I mean, either
or-
people I want to talk to or shit that's important.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No,
So did you guys know that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are really good buddies?
Is
Yeah.
this your story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently, like back when Bill Gates passed up Warren Buffett, they had no idea who each other were. Bill Gates had no interest in meeting Warren Buffett because Bill Gates wanted nothing to do with the stock market. Warren Buffett, vice versa, wanted nothing to do with Bill Gates. He had no idea about technology. Well, Bill Gates' mom thought he should like level up his circle a little bit.
Yep.
And when you're that much of a badass, there's only so many people that can actually level up your circle. So she invited Warren Buffett over to her house to have dinner with her,
Because
Bill,
she worked
and
at
the dad.
Microsoft at the time. I
How
think.
old?
And
Do you know ages?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know the age.
That's
It's
but,
awesome.
this whole story is in the documentary.
yeah, but so they're having dinner, and then they I don't know if it was a game or what exactly it was, but they go, okay, so the two of you, I want you to write down on a piece of paper one word that can define the reason for your success. And so they both wrote it down. They flipped it face down. They slid it over to the dad. The dad picked it up. Both of them said focus.
Matt's story wins.
Both of them said focus.
Bang.
boom.
So that should go to show you if you don't trust us fuckheads, then give it up for fucking Bill Gates and Warren Buffett.
Dude, that and it's so cool
I
to
love
see
that.
like just two titans just like meet like that and not even know who each other are.
And then
You know,
after that, they
and now
said,
they're
"Did we just
homies."
become
Yeah.
best friends?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you want to go do karate in the garage?"
Doing fucking karate and shit. Yep.
They should have done a paradox of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole story is in the Netflix documentary on Bill Gates. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Not
What's
that I'm
that
like a
called?
huge,
I haven't seen that yet, though.
it's not
Me
that I'm a
neither.
huge Bill Gates fan, but it is in that story. And I did watch the movie.
Do you know what it's
Who's
called?
Bill Gates?
William Gates.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it's just
Willie.
like inside Microsoft or something.
Will,
Gotcha.
Will.
But that was, I feel like it's a good story to kind of wrap things up. Anything else do you guys have before we get into our final segment?
No.
Nope.
No, sirree.
Love that story.
We got one more segment, and that's going to be the OnlyFans question. And it's going to be the second one. So just a reminder, write us on Instagram, email. We're going to put a post on Instagram to where
Snail
you can make a
Join
comment,
us on
or
Clubhouse.
you can slide into our DMs. The OnlyFans inquiry, where you're going to ask a question, business or any type of professional development related. We're going to answer it to the best of our knowledge in hopes that we help somebody. So, Brad, who's the OnlyFan today?
The only fan today is Ryan Freer.
Ryan.
My
That's it.
man.
What's up, Ryan Freer?
He hit us up on Instagram this week, and he said the 5 a.m. club, hot or not?
Oh,
What's our opinion on it, boys?
Not.
What's the 5 a.m. club?
Just getting up at 5 in the morning, getting your day
Hot.
started.
hot.
Not.
So
super hot.
I will say lukewarm.
Ooh,
So
lukewarm.
here's the thing: a lot of people,
That wasn't
a
an
lot
option.
Of, oh, okay, okay.
Hot, lukewarm, or
So
not?
then, if I have to pick one, I'm going to go with not, and I'll go with what essentially Tim Ferriss talked about on this, which was not everybody needs to be a morning person
Yes.
to be a badass, right? Like a lot of people love that, and I can understand why. You're the first person up.
Yep.
Nobody's there to distract you. Like you get your shit done before most people are even waking up. Like you get your most important task done. He's like, but some people are night owls. Like Tim Ferriss, when he was writing his book, would say like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night was when he was just fucking thriving.
Yeah.
And he was knocking shit out left and right. And that's when people were going to bed. But then again, he'd sleep till
Yeah,
9, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Now, I'm going to actually agree with Matt on this one. So I used to think the 5 a.m. club was badass. I thought it was like, oh, I'm going to get up, I'm going to get this done. And then I started to realize, like, does it matter if I get up at 5 or if I get up at 6? If I just work the same amount of hours
Right.
during the day, does it really matter?
It's
It's
not
all
a-
relative, though, because I end up staying up an hour later than I used to. So
Yeah.
I guess it's all relative. So, no, I don't think getting up at 5 a.m. is a make or break for anything.
I don't think it's for me. It's not for work. So I agree. I don't think everybody needs to get up at 5 a.m. for to skyrocket themselves professionally. But for me, it's about nobody being awake. It's very calm, very still. I get like the best thinking done in the morning, and it's just about centering my mind and getting focused for the day. And then like if I fit a workout in, I fit a workout in. But it's more about just having some time to breathe before my day kind of hits me, before I look at my email, before I start thinking about like what do I need to do, who do I need to call, and all that stuff. It's just me time.
Yeah,
which you don't get at night, I don't feel like.
Yeah, I
in my
think you
house.
can win your day earlier, right? I think that's a possibility. You can feel accomplished
Sooner.
early. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you knocked out stuff before everybody else needed your time, or you needed to be somewhere, or you had meetings or whatever. So I think that's a positive of waking up early. But I'm not a fan of the 5 a.m. club because I like to sleep. To be honest with you, but I will stay up late and I will find an area, or I'll go get a coffee or something like that, where and it all loops back to this topic of focus, right? Like if it's not going to be 5 a.m., then it should be midnight. So I do think that
Depending on
it
who you
needs to
are,
be
yeah.
one of those, or it needs to be some time that you can break away, you can be on your own, and you can focus on moving your business or yourself forward in some degree or some fashion when everybody else doesn't need you.
Yeah, separate
what I
from
mean?
your day to day.
Yeah, just there's so many times, whether you have kids or whether you have a business, employees or whatever it might be, people need to get a hold of you, or they're looking for clients. They need feedback. They need a response, and all this shit goes on during the day. So how do you find some time, whether it's the 5 a.m. club or the midnight club? Doesn't fucking matter. Just where are you finding that time to put that focus in? So
Yep.
And put it in.
Bobby was the one yes.
Yeah, well, I think as far as like getting up that early,
Did we change your mind?
I've been kind of because I agree. Whenever it comes to focus, I think it doesn't matter what time of day you do it, as long as you're
Putting it in
accomplishing
your day.
the things that you need to accomplish. That's a big deal for me. Getting up at 5 a.m. meant I could get my workout done by 6, and I could be at the office by 8:30. So that's why getting up that early was important to me. But I agree with you guys. I mean, as long as you are finding that time in the day to be productive, that's just when I'm most productive at the gym.
Yep.
So that's why I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a hot or not type question. I think it really depends on you, but find the fucking time to
Right.
do those
Right.
activities.
Make sure you're putting in the designated time with the right intentions
and
for
focus.
as long
Yeah.
as you should. Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool.
Jocko and David Goggins would be like, get fucking up earlier, 4 a.m.
Sleep faster.
I'm glad they're not in the room right now.
Sleep faster.
Cool. Well, I think that's it. We appreciate you guys listening. Again, feel free to follow us on Instagram, shoot us an email, and hit us up.
Big guest next week.
Big guest. We do have a guest next week. We've got Ryan Mickler.
He's a big Only fan.
So
I'm so excited. That's awesome.
be sure to
He's the
tune.
man.
Yeah, be sure to tune in. We'll actually have 2 podcasts because we're gonna do a podcast along with his interview. So tune in next week, and that's it.
All right.
Deuces.
Thanks, guys.
Light it.